This is day 1592 of the Arukh HaShulchan. This week's Arukh HaShulchan is being sponsored by Rabbi Yonasan Ezra and Chana Feigen for schus for Gemar Chatzima Teva. Should be zocher to a good year. Today we are during your day Siman Shin Chav Vav. See if you actually were supposed to Yud Gimel to Shin Chav Zayin Hey, but we did Yud Gimel last night in order to finish in Indian. So therefore we're going to start from Shin Chav Vav Yud Dalid and go through Yirtz Hashem Shin Chav Zayin Hey. Yudal Davar Pashu, it says obvious. Shem Mafrish Chala Meisa, Shem Moshir Kashir Ein Lo Klum. We take Chala from a dough which doesn't have the proper measure. For Chala, it's nothing. So therefore, you have two doughs. Shem Machas Mem Shir Kashir. You have two doughs, neither which has a shear. Vishim Chas Chala is set aside from Isham Chala. Places B'dibuk Zubazu, they're not connected to each other. Hakar Ir V'Isus, then you connect them. Basan Isa Achas, they made in one dough. Chavis B'Chala. This dough was now Chaim B'Chala. Chalos Rishonis and Chala. First Chalos were absolutely worthless. Tesvav, because a Rambam, so per example, Isa Tful Chala, you have a dough which is Teva for Chala, and a Chala. It's not considered as if it's already Chala. But a Chulin in Tumah is like Chulin in terms of Tumah. Shein Sheni Osa Shlishi B'Chulin. A second degree tumah does not make a third degree tumah by chulin. Chulin stops at second degree tumah. Mutar gram tumah chulin shvaretz. It's so allowed to cause tumah for chulin and it's still even though for chuma and actual chayin not be allowed to. Peter states that if you have two those achas tamei bechas Torah, one's tamei one's Torah. Noita k'dei chal shteim isa shlo ruma chalasa. You could take the amount of chal of both of them from a dough from which chal has not been taken. Noso emtza and put in the middle somach lisas haTorah next to the dough which is Torah. Moshe chaminat mei the Torah and you draw something from the tamei dough to the Torah dough. K'dei beitza. Amount of an egg. Take truma from one batch. Zeh mishnah so perek beis challah. It's a mishnah the end of second perek challah. And the mishnah time pachas beis. The mishnah says less than a beis, which needs to make sense because you don't want to become tummy. But Rama kaska beis a pisu is a shas b'saita and sham amari shatmeya hil sheni l'tuma. It's talking about where it can be a bait because it's tameas, it's shady tuma, which is not going to make the chulin tame. Shrive is to go with Ravid complaints. The Mishra Belezis feel okay. Belezis also come for business. Make a pasuk Belezis, I can allow pasuk Belezis and Sham. Perish Hamisha pasuk Atzko Chamim the Perish Mishnais himself pasuk Chamim. I can't chazar but here even next should do Shalmi Yesh pasuk Belezis okay Lemaisa those pasuk Belezis Lemaisa came to me the Rabbanon since it's Rabbanon pasuk Kani pasuk the cool can be more than Kanabeitza. That's like Okosav. He also writes. Also, the Isa Torah of Einam Mafrish Chalasa. A person can make a Torah dough and not set aside Chala. Minicha set aside. Minicha Mitzasa. They set part of it aside. The also Mafrish in order to separate from it. V'holech and continue Chalos Lisacheres Chalos and other doughs. I feel need Moisos even those doughs are tummy. At Shetasa Isa Shenia Kula Chala until the dough you set aside and it's entirely becomes challah. Melachoi give the coin. Mushaloti pasim melacholatam. Obviously, as long as it's still suitable to eat for human being. Mushatisra once it becomes rancid, enam avishla can't set aside challah from it. But when is it true? Somebody says shemar b'shalem sofek imur challah mehem o shalorma. Where is it true when the challah the doughs upon which you're taking off challah from the separate dough are sofek. If the chal is taken off or not. Shechal is the mai, because when you have chal of the mai, he tells me the Torah can be taken from Torah ala Tomei, from a separate batch from Torah Tomei, and l'chatchila, even deliberately, but shalom and emukah can be taken off even though it's not one batch because it's a separate dough. Zeh mishnah perek dal. It's mishnah b'avagav. The b'chal lo shach the mai. The mai is not relevant. Shrei ameretz lo nechshtu chala. Ameretz are not suspect not the chala. For Torah Rash b'zeh Rash has difficulty with this. Achram manfresh b'stovik imnita chala imlav. He says the mai means a stovik. It's not sure if the chala is taken off, taken off or not. V'agav the gan vadai yesh takor la'asos a mukah k'b'diyan kohen even though even by vadai. Not there's a takar to make a mukaf by the connection, which is spoken on the previous sif. Kabinina kohen like previous sif. Achlo marikan b'zeh b'tchicha milsatu. It's not about that here, and it's a pain. Vada shechol says they chib b'pachas m'beitza. So they can do the connection by less than the beitza. But by the you don't need this. Because the Chatchila can take off. It's not the same batch. V'zesh kosa shebet mine tells me a Torah tomate. The Chatchila that which he wrote them by the Mai. You can take from the Torah on tomate the Chatchila. Fi mash pasuk around Rabbi Lezer gam about I feel like that's according to the Rambam like the Lezer he means by Vadai. And I'm based the Chuma, so based the Chaluk, much cause of the Kohen. Ram Lashem Mishnah, the Ram is going with the language of the Mishnah. Mishnah came near the Rachom, also Chatchila Bevadai. The reason why he said, is because Rachomim, he doesn't pass like them, also Chatchila Bevadai. In brackets it says Mashkosa Pisra Shuba Sivkon Beis Voin Tmumim. What Pisra Shuba wrote is astonishing. Shida Ba'abai so Isa. It's true, obvious that Ba'abosa makes it dough. Avshim Chal Kami Korim, even though it divides in several loaves, the Kamazul several meals, the Kambiam in several days. Isa Achas Mikra, it's called one dough. Chavis Mechal, so I'm Mechal, Vazel Kavar, it's called Paiskim this. I taste the brachas, Lam Meches, she stopped Vermi Maishish, certain type of bacon. It's also tafshil is made for cooked dishes. Called tafshil nechshav any of the also each cooked dish is considered to be separate. It's not relevant to discussion of bread. Shin chav zayin. Masay challah isa chiyuv challah. When does the chiyuv challah devolve on the dough? We're gonna do the whole thing. I guess that's 5 sifim. We're gonna do the whole 5 sifim. The obligation for the time it is needed. But if you set aside flour, put challah into the oven, ain't no klum, it's nothing. But you have to set aside a separate one when you need the dough. The Kohen you give it to the Kohen actually. Learn somebody who sets aside his challah as flour. Ain't no challah, it's not challah, but gets by a Kohen. If you give it to the Kohen, he's a thief. Let me blame who I'm Haaretz. Certainly, it's obviously if it's true if it's not Haaretz. Shloy Adin doesn't know halacha. I feel with Tam Chacham, he knows Tam Chacham. For your day, Adin knows halacha. For your Lamash knows halacha. In other words, the Babos, not the Kohen. Even the Kohen, obviously the Kohen Zamoritz doesn't know the din, then it's a guess to be a Kohen. But even if the Dabos of Tam Chacham, your dad did, he knows halacha. For your Lamash, we could say Shlos Lokem Matana. They gave him the flour as a gift. Come, chai flowers here. Never going to give it back. The Mloach here because he doesn't get back. You'll be the Kilko. It's going to come to ruin. Shomer Shachali. They'll say it's challah and it's not. Therefore, also the flour which is by the Kohen. If he has 5 quarters, chayav challah. That flour is chayav challah. So to the flour which means hand balabos. Nevertheless, even though the flour is gazel be a Kohen, the Zor can't eat it. And they shouldn't call it shem challah because it has a shem challah. The story of Rishon Cain, the Rambam, that's the way two passages. Rambam Farish Sham Perish Achar Sham. Rambam has a different interpretation. See there. Beis Davka Shefresh Chayil Kemach Eda Moil. Shomer Shir Cholav Shem Chal Miyan. This is only we set aside flour. It doesn't not take effect to say that Shemini Kam Challah. Avli maybe Shemiktas Kemach, but he set aside some flour. For Omar said, "Should they also Isa when it comes to dough Yachul Al Mixas Hakemach Hazeh? Then on this bit of flour will take effect Shem Challah. Shagam Hiti Asa Isa when it also becomes a dough. Avi Challah that's Challah. Davar. It's not like says something which doesn't yet exist. Since it's biyodai, it has the capacity to need it immediately. Anything which has the capacity to immediately. Times so shliach for this reason, it goes to make a shliach to say kemach when it's still flour. Such a woman says to Sven, Lushili kemach need for me dough, free she by the challah and take off me challah. Even though we say something which you can't do, your Asian can also cannot do. It's not called something which you cannot do. Since you could need it immediately. I would say about the taste of the times of the but the say that's not enough of a svare. Came and the biyodel, he told Isa Gugelis, but it's also it's biyodel for him to take the dough which is already needed. Lama Zu Chala Lisa Zu Kshatil should say this should be chala on this dough when this dough is needed. That also makes biyodel. Obviously, chala has to be extant in its as an edible proper form until after the kneading. Gimel, must I eat the chiyuv? When is the primary obligation? Shita mine, where you put the water, and you mix the flour. Chamish avoiding the 5 quarters, but mine with water. And it won't remain in the mixing bowl. 5 quarters of flour. Which are not mixed in the water. But if we said this should be challah on the dough and on the sourdough and on whatever flour is not yet kneaded into the mixture, when it becomes all one dough, should be consecrated. Zu should be that which is in my hands for the purpose of challah. How is the mutter that works? So it says that the challah should take effect on flour. It's going to get mixed in afterwards. When you're setting the loaves, they're chanoshim like women do. So it says kemach. They put flour on the shovel, also in the pan. But also and they put also on the loaf. The bread, the flour adheres to the loaf. In those cases, it's best to teach women to stipulate this. If it could be up to 5 quarters of flour after, which is unlikely. Nowadays, don't do this because we don't only take challah after completing the kneading. Is still a little bit of dough on the shovel. There's never going to be shir challah on that. But be careful not to burn the challah until after completely setting all the loaves. If not, won't take effect on the dough which is potentially came into existence afterwards. When there was purity in Eretz Yisrael, women would quickly take challah, lest the dough become tamei, and challah may come to be tamei. But nowadays in age when anything's tummy, everything's tummy anyway. It's best to wait to set aside challah until after you complete kneading. When the entire dough becomes one block. But it's preferable to take challah from the dough. But if you bake before taking challah, you can take after the baking. By matzah you must do this. Came should open isa levada, since you bake each dough by itself. Each one does not have a shear. You have to put them all one basket. Therefore, they take the challah after baking. That's the widespread custom. Hey, it's not bereish pekim. We learn pekim. Arai min ha'isuk temporarily from the dough. Achet gaga b'chitim v'tetantim b'soirim. Until you roll it around by chitim and until you mix around by barley. Meaning, come up with truma. The kohen gemar malacha mutar all right. It's like truma before it's completed. You're allowed to eat a snack. Also, and after it's also gemar malacha truma ruach and the gemar malacha of truma. When you're not allowed to snack anymore is when you smooth the pile. Gemar malacha the challah and the completion of the activity of challah have a gilgul. When the dough is rolled, when the dough is properly rolled, you can't stack anymore for challah. So in the by sewing, since by barley, since the flour doesn't adhere so well, the same stage is called timtum when it gets mixed up, not completely rolled. It's the same principle. The main thing is that the entire dough becomes one block. Now, so one can eat, even snack, or certainly snack. Then mimafresh is not an issue. You can snack even, and afterwards, because it's going to take challah on this, or later on.